Hello dear friends, and welcome to another episode of Insight Reading Enlightenment, your window into the world of early music. In today's episode we are heading to London for a very special occasion, LIFEM, the London International Festival of Early Music. This past November, the festival once again brought together musicians, makers and audiences from around the world, celebrating the beauty and diversity of historical performance. To dive into the heart of the festival, I spoke with two wonderful guests, Chris Butler, the passionate organizer behind LIFEM, and joining me as well is Erik Bosgraaf, recorder virtuoso, newly appointed artistic director of the festival, and my dear friend who reflects on his new role for the future of LIFEM and of course shares a few stories along the way. My name is Darina Ablogina. Let's get started.
Great. Well, I'm Chris Butler. I am the festival director of LIFEM. I've been the festival director for 5 years, but I've been involved with the festival for many years. First as a kid, the festival's been going since 1973, always in London. And when I came to London when I was in my early 20s, I found the festival. So I've known it for many, many years, and eventually, now here I am as the director.
Hello everyone, my name is Erik Bosgraaf and I performed last year at the festival and then I was asked to become its artistic director. So this is my first festival that I'm curating.
So maybe a question for Chris. Maybe you could share with us the details of Origins of the Early Music Festival. How did it all begin and what was your vision when you first started it?
Well, it began in 1973, so this is the 51st year, and originally it was every other year. Is that biannual or biennial? I never know. Anyhow, but it's been every year for a long time now, and in fact some of the exhibitors, which is something I'll talk about later, some of them have been coming here for 50 years. The Early Music Shop, which is the principal retailer of early music instruments, really came into being in the 70s. During my short time here as the festival director, we've sort of tried to separate the festival from the shop. The shop is still a very important supporter of the festival, but the festival now has its own life and its own remit and its own mission, its own ambitions and so forth. And part of the festival is, of course, the ongoing exhibition of the makers. And on top of that, we have so many other activities, including the competitions and the recitals and the demonstrations and the talks. So it really, the festival is a really good word for the whole 4-day experience.
What drew you personally to early music, and how did your journey in this field lead to become the director of this festival?
Just straightforward interest, just a love of the music. I mean, I was a musician first, I think, and last, and in the middle, I'm a businessman, and so it's not, but for me it's more than a business. If it was, I wouldn't do most of it if it was just a business, I think. We really, it sounds a bit cheesy and cliched, but we actually do love it. So that's we don't find it difficult to be enthused by it and try and develop it. And so it's just a natural extension of loving music and trying to run a good business. So it's the two things come together, and you put it all together, and out pops LIFEM.
Could you highlight some of the most memorable performances or moments from past festivals that have stood out to you over the years?
We have a wonderful performance venue here in St. Michael's Church, and we record our concerts, and sometimes we film our concerts, so I get the chance to listen to the concerts again, and it's hard. The level is so high now. We just don't. I mean, people can like one concert more than another, but we don't. We don't produce bad concerts. The level is fantastic.
And talking about the highlights, you could share with us some of the highlights of this present festival.
I know that there are great colleagues, musicians who perform magnificently. But what is a personal highlight for me is to see young players playing the recorder or other instruments, and being enthusiastic about it. And it's not, this is going to sound even weirder. It's not only about the music. It is so much about having a large market square where you can talk to anyone, and where young players can talk to older players, and makers can talk to each other and to the audience. And so it's really all about that, and having a place where everybody can fully be themselves and really immerse themselves deeply into the early music in all kinds of ways, not only through the music, which should speak for itself, but also through exchanging informations and asking, how do you do this, how do you do that? You know what I mean? That's and then of course also the after parties are very important part of this. And I think that sometimes that is a bit underrated, that it's not only about the concert, it is very much also about sometimes even supporting each other directly in what they are doing, and sharing the passion and love for real music.
So it's your first edition that was curated by you, let's say, this festival. Could you share your experience? How did you feel?
Well, first of all, it's, as they say in German, die Qual der Wahl, so the difficulty of choosing, because there is, as Chris said, there is so many great ensembles that offer very, very interesting programs. So it's very difficult to choose and have a festival that is diverse.
How to go about selecting the artists and ensembles that perform at the festival? What criteria do you use to ensure a diverse and high-quality program?
For this festival, the theme was the art of variation. So your question speaks more about the specific people or ensembles that are invited or should be invited. In this case, it had also very much to do with which ensembles could offer something that fit in this theme, in such a way also that we don't only hear diminutions from 17th century Italy, but making let's say a bouquet of flowers where we don't only have tulips, but where there is unity and diversity at the same time.
Chris, you have mentioned some other activities, that the festival is not only the festival by itself, but it's also the early music shop. Maybe let's talk about that, educational initiatives. Beyond performances, does the festival engage in educational or outreach activities? If so, can you tell us more about those initiatives?
We're always looking to the future for the next generations, and there are many players that are at the beginning of their career. The musicianship is just a part of it, but there's also the discipline of being a young musician. There's the business side of being a young musician. There's the sort of the professionalism. I mean, this is a profession. This is not the amateur music market. So to be a professional requires many things that you then have to layer on top of the musical excellence, which is taken for granted, and that is tough. And so the festival timetable and the festival experience is a combination of all of those things as well. It's more than just one thing. It's you do get the opportunity to see the makers, you do get the opportunity to hear other players, you do get the opportunity to tap into the experience of people who've already had a lifetime in it. And I think that's I don't know much about other festivals, and I'm not influenced by them. All I look at really is, I'm keen to learn, of course, but I'm also thinking, how do we holistically provide something that works for young kids? And the exhibition today is fantastic. There are a lot of kids today, and they're just running. I do this in my own shop. People come into the shop and their parents say, "Don't touch." I said, No, you have to touch. If you're not going to touch, you can't come in. So I make them play the instruments. The instruments, of course, have to be respected, but not to the point of in a glass cage. They are made to be played, and so we encourage people to play and kids to play. And we had a session this week, a demonstration of the medieval serpent, or the Renaissance serpent. And we have these in the shop, and there are two questions I get asked. People come in, the first question they say is, "What's that?" It's a great question. And they think, and their second question is, "What does that sound like?" So they're fascinated. These things are visually fascinating, and they're orally fascinating as well. And I was with a parent this morning, and we talked about her son has been to every day of the festival, and he's played just about everything. And we agreed that he has a great curiosity. And in a world when there are many options, to have a curiosity in musical instruments is no bad thing. There are worse things to be curious about. So I think providing that opportunity and that environment, is creating a music environment, and we create it from the first thing in the morning to the last thing at night for 4 days. It's really quite a marathon thing. I think there are 40 events here, and so we cover all of those bases for all of those ages, and for people who are at every stage in the cliched musical journey.
How do you engage and grow your audience? What strategies have proven effective?
The responses this year from the audiences have been fantastic. It's for the artists to engage the audience. They can do that with their music, but they can do that with their personality and their presence. The artists have been very, very giving this year, which helps. The setting is very intimate, which also helps. There's the closeness between the audience and the performers that also helps. And there's a goodwill. I mean, goodwill goes a long way anywhere.
I love to see the audience being actively invited by the performers to come up to them and ask them questions. I think that's the highest level of audience engagement that you can have. None of our artists is running off to their hotel and watch a movie. They are all just sticking around, first to engage with the audience, first as a one-way traffic from the stage, and then as a dialogue. And it also offers the more specialized parts of the audience to ask very nerdy questions that they might have been dying to ask for a long time. I mean, about gut strings or fingerings or all of those things. I think it's the highest level of engagement that you can get. And then, with the kids, I've done a Q&A with a big group of kids. How long do you practice per day? And it's all about engagement, really. and much less about a one-way traffic from the holy artist to the audience. And I really enjoy that. I think maybe that it also helps that it is in a village within London. The fact that it feels that everybody is so approachable.
Yes, I was just thinking about the exhibition that is going on right now at this very moment, and I thought that it's a great tool for a festival to go on. It attracts a lot of people. People come to see instruments, to try instruments, and I think it's a great idea. It's a great addition to the concert program as well.
Generally, if you go to a concert hall, and I understand why, but the audience is not let anywhere near the instruments. I mean,
Yes.
you can see, but you certainly can't touch, and you can't try. And I completely understand that. If you're catering to everybody, you've got to be prepared to answer the silly question, or you've got to facilitate all of that. And so the exhibition, is and it's what I love about it. When I go into that hall, I hear an amazing piece of music every time, which is about 70 instruments playing simultaneously.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great piece. We should just record that and broadcast it.
That's a good idea, actually. Looking ahead, what are your hopes and plans for the future of the Early Music Festival? Are there any exciting changes or additions on the horizon?
I simply want to program high quality concerts and have a variety of people and nationalities and age groups, and so that everybody feels represented. And that is basically it. I don't necessarily want to stick to a theme every festival, although there was a theme this festival. I think it is important to have players see players do something that you want to be able to do yourself. So it's something to aspire for young players, and something that they can wish for that to do themselves. And then actually also I've been mentioning this earlier, that for me, the character of a musician is actually also important. They just need to be nice people. If you are not willing to engage with the audience, I am not interested. Really, it's so important, and I think especially here, where that there's lots of back and forth going on, and artists sometimes also have a double role. They might give a master class, or they might be in a competition jury like yourselves. People came up to you asking, like, can you give us feedback? So if you're not approachable, if you're not willing to go to engage in a conversation with people that are genuinely interested, then the whole thing doesn't work. So it is about providing high quality concerts, but also having the will to be open for conversations.
In what ways do you believe the Early Music Festival contributes to the cultural landscape and the broader music community?
I don't know. I mean, I think that it has a presence, it has a reputation, it has a branding. People come back, and I think that we have a reasonably winning formula. Some people love it when we change things. Some people hate it when we change things. They say, "Why didn't you?" And so I think we sort of stay within semi-rigid boundaries. For me, early music, we can keep going backwards. We don't go back far enough in a way. We go back to 1500. We should go back to 1300. I don't really want to come further forward because there's plenty of that. I mean, a lot of people do that. I'm not trying to be in a niche. I'm happy to share with everybody. I mean, people like to put early music in a box and they put it over there. I just think it's good. There's just good. If there's good music, if we program and facilitate good music, then we'll keep our place. We'll be in people's minds, I think.
As an artistic director, what do you hope the audience takes away from their experience at the festival?
A sense of wonder, I would say. And many members of the audience have listened to many concerts in their life. So it's a picky audience, I would say. They have listened to many. So I would like that there is something for everyone that they are really surprised about, and something that they have not heard and that they really like. Although it can also happen that there's something that they don't like, but at least it has been a new experience for them. And the festival is also for those things. I would say a sense of wonder, a sense of connection, and to celebrate really the power of early music that has survived all these centuries and is being brought to life again by enthusiastic human beings. I don't know, it sounds very philosophical, but sorry about that.
I think it's a great ending. Thank you very much for
Welcome.
this talk.
Nice to talk about it.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this special episode of Insight Reading Enlightenment dedicated to the London International Festival of Early Music. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow, share and leave a review. It really helps more people discover the magic of early music. You can also stay connected with this podcast on Instagram and Facebook. Links are in the description. A big thank you once again to Chris Butler and Erik Bosgraaf for sharing their time and insights. Until the next time, keep listening, keep exploring and keep the music alive. Bye!